Hello, and welcome back to the Geek on My Sleeve channel. This is Geek Out number 97 over He Who Fights with Monsters, Book 3 by Shirtaloon. And oh my, it is the best by far, and they just keep getting better. As well as Shirtaloon is an absolute monster. We're in 1 year. We're already promised book 4. I think He Who Fights with Monsters 1 came out in February, and then he's promised book 4 pre-orders out, release for late December. So, and they're not little books by any means. I
No,
think
not at all.
their short one is like 20 hours, longer one is like 24.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. It helps that a lot of what we're listening to has already been um, published on his Patreon and Royal Road for a while. We're just now getting it to the distilled, um, yeah,
Yeah,
version
I
on
guess that's
Kindle and audiobook.
that's another point of topic with oh hey, himself.
Uh,
Oh, well, you click it. There we go. Yeah, that would be awkward. Just be like, yeah, here's this book, and it sucked. No,
uh,
it's an amazing series. Oh man,
Thanks for
yeah,
hanging with us, Shirtaloon. We
yes,
promise not
welcome.
to be too forgetful with names. So,
I I will do
uh,
my best.
yeah. Um, Gosh, just so much fun this book, and then oh my goodness, the cliffhanger, right? Like I am so grateful that we're getting one a quarter, but at the same time, after the end of the book, it's like, what?
I,
What? For those of
yeah,
those
yeah,
new to the channel, spoilers ahead. You've been warned. But
yeah.
yeah, as Peter likes to say in previous streams we've done, oh, main character dead, story's over, time to go home, right?
Yeah, so I guess that's probably my only negative that isn't really a negative, if I'm being brutally honest, is the endings are not as enticing or satisfying, but it doesn't matter because I've got a couple months and then I've got another massive book to go through, as well as there are just, yeah, the rereadability and yeah, the story as a whole and the character developments and the world.
I was just going to touch on that too. I'm pretty sure you were able to get back through book 1 and 2 before you hopped on and did book 3, right?
Yeah, I went back
So
through all of them this week.
and especially with this book, like you said, with the rereadability, book 3, so much of what we see in book 1 and book 2 comes back around, right? We even get to see one of the blood cult guys briefly, the one that wanted to eat the elf and everything. So like the little side characters coming out of the woodwork, coming across them.
That was
The
something I really appreciated throughout this because we kind of got like a book one recap as he's out doing his punishment detail and
mhm.
he takes his team back through the spot. So that was nice, as well as it was a good segue to give us the builder cult's point of view and how they managed to stay hidden and everything else. So that was very well done.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody who was able to show up for the live stream. Question from Thorben: why is there no pen and paper RPG in existence? Great magic system, character progress would be innovative and new. World is vast and very interesting. I agree with all that, and I think I know Shirtaloon's popping in and out, hanging with us, so he might be able to talk to this. But I think he commented on this in his Q&A he did over on the LitRPG subreddit. I'll try to link that in the description below if I think of it. And I believe one of the comments from Shirtaloon was that while he is a gamer, I'm not sure if he's interested or enjoys board games. I'm not sure if he wants to put together a pen and paper RPG system, though I would love to do some tabletop. Oh, there we go. Appreciate you chiming in, Shirtaloon. Short answer, he has to there. Yeah, Shirtaloon has to sleep sometime.
I was
And
gonna say he's pumping out books and yeah, super active, and the amount that's come out
yeah, I
in a
think on
year
his
is ridiculous.
Patreon, he does like at least a chapter a week, minus little breaks. And I just have so much respect for authors that can push out content like that. Consistently releasing new books. And as you were saying earlier, Pete, like, even though there's a lot of this stuff was already, oh, wow. Thank you for the correction there. Shirtaloon says 5 chapters a week, which is just redonkulous. You're talking about Monday through Friday, a chapter a day at least. And I'm sure it's more like a 7-day bit. And that's why we get such beefy, lovely books each quarter here. And what gets me so excited is, as far as like the magic and the progression so far, we're just scratching the surface, right?
Oh
As
yeah,
far as where we
yeah,
are scaling
potential.
wise. Yeah, like,
And it just like there are a couple definites or definitives, but most of it isn't. For example, I really enjoyed book one when he finally figures out what the Phoenix token is and how it will be a chance for him to go back to his own world and whether or not he's going to keep it. And that is something that was done very well and done very different.
mhm.
Because I guess, just off the top of my head, you have like SAO type where, oh, they were trying to do an VR MMO RPG and get trapped, and there's no chance of really going back. And then you get like, yeah, anyway, so I really enjoyed the Phoenix token, and
Mm, I love the fact that we got more of the backstory and the lore there. Um, so some quick comments. Really glad you're able to make it, White Thatch. He said, sleep when you die after you give us all the good stories. Um, Thorben commented, if you want to sleep, don't write books that are as good as they are. No worries on the English there, Thorben. Um, White Thatch, thank you for your hard work. And then Shirtaloon commented, I'm not opposed to a tabletop RPG, but ultimately I designed the system as a narrative tool, and adaptation would take a lot of work, such as introducing hard numbers that don't appear in the story.
and on that note, I I'm a combat junkie, as we may or may
Really?
not know already,
Really?
and the way that Shirtaloon incorporates the abilities as they're kind of being utilized
Mm-hmm.
is a beautiful way of doing it, because that way we don't have to keep track of everything, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy the breakdown of how the ability works throughout the combat sequence versus, so much of the data dump.
Yeah, and I've seen it commented before, that some people don't appreciate how often the like abilities are named and talked about. For me, and maybe I've just read some lit RPGs that smack you in the face with stats and the technical stuff like every time you turn around, but I feel it's really well done. Like the repeating of the abilities kind of help remind us of what's going on, especially with as large as the cast has become. if you aren't an avid reader where you're just binging them as hardcore as we are, it's nice to kind of get a reminder of like what the abilities are, what they do, especially as like Jason powers up and progresses. It's I don't know, what's your take on that? Too much with the abilities, reminders up in your face, not enough,
So
just right.
I'm currently in the not enough, but that's only because we've been told time and time again that, oh man, I can't think of the name of our main city. Green something? That's
Yeah,
gonna bug me.
we
Anyway,
just
our main
call it
town
Geller's
that
hometown,
we're a very small part of the world, and we're
right?
also a very low magic density area. So, Greenstone?
Greenstone, good looking out,
Thank
Thorben.
you. Greenstone,
Torben.
we're very small, narrow, and we get to see a little bit of it when the other adventurers come in from the, oh, this is gonna kill me. Gold Rankers starts with an A. Story about giant metal duck. When he comes in, and we get to see all the different adventures with the vast variety of powers. I know there's so much potential for a lot more out there, so I want to see more. But we have
We
a
just get
very
a
diverse,
small glimpse of the
yeah.
world, right? Like over in Greenstone and people coming here and with the builders and everything. Like towards the end, we get to see a little bit more um around the world, kind of like in the epilogues and everything, like as the Diamond Raker comes back to see his kids and whatnot.
Uh,
Um,
So, book one, Paradise. Peter, how be
White
happy with
Thatch.
a book that was nothing but stats and fights. This is true. I do enjoy stats and fighting, primarily because the sense of progression and who doesn't love fight scenes. Turns
Mm-hmm.
out that a lot of people don't like play-by-plays, but that's what's so great about this book. It's not just a play-by-play. It's the ever-expanding universe and its evils. Sidestep. I really relate with the main character a lot because I enjoy throwing people off with random comments.
Yeah.
For example, when I meet new people at work, first thing I tell them is how much I love killing people. And I'm like online and video games after a little bit just to mess with them. But
Mm-hmm.
the character is his own comic relief wrapped into one, as well as he gets several great humility moments, and you get to see the
We get
development.
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
to see him grow, right? Like book one is very much about his ideals and how he wants to be a better person, and um kind of challenges the status quo with his more socialist ideas, and you know kind of pushes back against Farah, you know, um, holier than thou attitude and everything. And then we lose her in book two. Is it book two? Yeah, in book two, and we get to see just kind of like the growth of everyone, including Jason, as he kind of progresses there.
Oh,
So
well, yeah, and that's one thing I can also appreciate throughout the story writing is
Toradon says, I appreciate that people realize Jason needs therapy and he gets it. And I'm with you there. Like so many stories just try to like glaze over the trauma and the things that kind of like come with combat and war, which is essentially what they have going on. And even though he kind of deals with it in his own way, he's not indestructible, right? Like he kind of has to cope with his PTSD after his BDSM scene with Silver and the Builder, right?
Yeah, and we have a lot of those reflection points, but what I was going to say is by far my favorite dialogue is when Jason's going up against the builder and he I wish I had it recorded. He talks about the power of friendship, and the builder's like, I'm above you. I have no friends. And he's like, oh, well, you just admitted defeat. I'm rocking the power of friendship. You need
Yep,
to have some backstory, blah, blah, blah.
yep, yep.
Yep. It was that, yeah, probably favorite scene for that.
Luke Nash. To be honest, one of my favorite things about this book is that on Royal Road, it isn't just huge tables, but a much nice and easier to read short messages. And I kind of get a feel for that in the audiobook version as well. Even though the books are huge, the chapters aren't overbearing. And as we said earlier, we're not getting the stats dump. Thorben, evil is not always evil. The builder cult is evil, but if the builder himself remains to be seen. Yeah.
I I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like when Jason has a conversation with Neil, our healer, and he
Look at
says
you.
the they're talking about the sin essence and how it's not.
I,
I'm losing it here. I'm trying to remember names when they're talking about the sin essence and how to some people it's a sin against a god, but for him it's different. It's about people, having differing
Gods are
values than
just people.
his. And so yeah. And that's one thing that I love stories, and Brandon Sanderson does really good with the love to hate kind of person, and
Mm-hmm.
then they're doing it for their own reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of this, towards the end, it's where there's just so much, and I want to dig so much deeper. But towards the end, when we do defeat Jason and he gets saved or reincarnated, as we know, by the Phoenix token, and then the builder's upset, and we get to see the astral entities having their conversation through their diamond rankers.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's
I got the segment for you about the sin essence if you want it.
okay.
So the sin essence is extremely rare, Jason said, and apparently not popular for a legendary essence. It does take a particular kind of arrogance to absorb the essence of defying the gods into your soul, Neil said. I don't see it that way, Jason said. The sin essence isn't about defying gods. Then what is it about? Neil asked, because it really seems like it is. It's about the nature of sin, Jason said. A sin is a transgression against a set of rules. Exactly, Neil said. Rules set down by the gods. But those rules are arbitrary, Jason said. Each god had their own set of sins. For knowledge, lying is a sin, but for deception or even the merchant, lying is a part of their core practices. Each god has their own set of rules. So Neil asked, so I don't think the sin essence is about violating rules of the gods. Not for me, at least. Maybe it works that way for some others. So yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where yeah, everybody's doing it for their own reason or their own agenda, but yeah, so much potential, so much more. That's well done, well done. Though I will say, I was first time through when I was doing it in the audio format, and I was listening to it, and it was like epilogue, and I was like, okay, and it was going on, and it's like, yeah, we're gathering people, we're going back to the Astral place, And I was like, okay. And then there's another chapter. I was like, wait, there's more. And then finally, like second or third one in, I actually had to open my application and look at it, and I was like, oh, okay. It's just it didn't end, and I was excited about it, and just kept getting better and better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Bruno says, I would love to know how many RR chapters are going to be in the fourth book. And then we got Torden Epilogue, Chapter 8.
Yeah, it
So yeah,
just kept going.
we got a lot of epilogue chapters. And I might be misspeaking, but I think that's Shirtaloon's way of kind of helping tie the books together a bit, just because it originally was just the web series. So trying to find some nice ending points for each book. Shirtaloon, the epilogues were originally weekly chapters I released on break between books 3 and 4. So there we
Mm.
go. There we go. I'm
Yeah,
super pumped for book 4.
I'm excited. So my understanding as it is, so Jason died, the Phoenix token happened. He's now supposed to return to his world.
Mm-hmm.
But we also know that we have a representator, I forget the word they used, of the astral, I want to say beast, but that's not right. Anyway, the Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to go to the world to bring him back, so to speak. And between, oh, the Way of the Reaper, the Death guy, the Astral Phoenix, and I can't remember the third one that was there.
What was the
But yes,
builder?
or the Builder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As they
Um,
called him out on his shenanigans. And we
well,
kind of get to
because
see a bit of the backstory there about how like these guys ascend to these astral deities or whatnot, right? Like there was a previous
or well,
builder.
but that's the thing. All of the other astral entities were essentially embodiments of the nature of whatever they were. And we don't know when or how or Big Bang or came to be, but the builder himself was raised up to the position. And then, yeah, he keeps diverging, as well as some crazy stuff is about to happen,
I was about to say,
because the Earth and our new planet.
yeah. Toradan said, only the builder has been placed. Others are originals, as I understand it, which
Oh yeah,
sounds right.
replaced. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, things are starting to
But
get
then,
interesting. Like they're making deals for him to come back in book 4 for Jason, and that this will be the final time he dies, right? Because
yeah,
he died and was reborn when he was originally summoned to our hedge mage and
or
everything. So that
Maze. Yeah.
Maze, yeah. So that was his first death, and then here we have his second death. Um, so yeah,
But the
bring him
thing,
back plus one, right? Going to bring
yep,
another.
yep. I believe we're grabbing the detective.
That's at
Though I
first
was
I wasn't
hoping it was
sure.
going to be a family member, because in book one, I believe. Anyway, so Jason's got his communication power,
Mm-hmm.
and on the list, he sees his family members, and he's like, oh, yeah, they're way out of range. So I don't know if he's going to go back. Some of his powers are
Oh,
going to work because the membrane or whatever they put around the Earth is weakening due to the builder doing weird stuff with the
our pocket astral planes or whatnot.
no, the monster surge. The
Hmm.
monster surge has been delayed and delayed, and it's almost as if he's trying to siphon power the other way. And then when it rebounds, are we going to get a bunch of people coming through?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's there's a lot of potential. Um, we're keeping to the theme, and each book we get a Mirage Chamber fight. So that
This is
towards the
true.
beginning was very good. Um,
I can appreciate too how the cast, like as awesome as they are, we get to see them grow in skill, right? Like I get so tired of like overly OP cast and crew, and like our guys are good, but to truly see them struggle to kind of get their team built together, learn how to work together and everything, um, is a lot of fun. And we really get them to see go all hyperbolic time chamber,
I
right? Like
was
even
about to say this
after
was
we
very
finally go back to the astral plane where the builders are and we took our reaper test, we spent literally months in there just like grinding it out and training, which prior to that, like we spent a couple weeks out on the road training and training just to come back to have Jason get kidnapped and tied up and, you know, all sorts of kinky things done to him. Um, and then, yeah, the final fight scene where we think we lose him, and oh, the gods meddling and everything towards the end there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so much potential going forward because it seems like some amount of time has passed because we've got Amir, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
the gold ranker who is
Mm-hmm.
recruiting people to go and check out the Way of the Reaper. Um, oh, sorry, random line of thought. The thing I was initially thinking was Jason has been influenced by each one of the astral beings because we had the Builder with the Star Seed, we had the Phoenix with giving him the token, and then he has several of the abilities from the Way of the Reaper. So he was essentially influenced by each one of the astral beings. But when we get that astral being conversation and they're saying, well, if that's going to happen, we're going to awaken each one of their powers. And then they get the conversation of, oh, we can only unlock one. Well, let's go get others. That way we can unlock all of them. And I'm like, dun, dun, dun. All of what we thought and knew and have been influenced by on our small world is not even.
Yeah. Thorben comments Jason's familiar shade seems to be of much more power than one would think he has. Might be a joker for Jason to elude death. And his shade is in relation to the Reaper Astral, right? Like,
Well,
don't
and
we
that's
get
what's
that towards?
yeah. We get that into when he says I am or I'm a familiar and I am the Reaper's shadow,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of questions. Is it the Reaper was
Yeah, the Reaper
a
gave a breathed fatherly smile. Of all my children, Shade has ever followed his own path. Um,
or the Celestial book has not shown up yet. I took that to be like that was primarily Clive because he has one of the stones and he was a linchpin or very critical for any of our other
oh,
shenanigans with the astral space to even work out. So
Clive was
that's what I took
our
that as. That wasn't
MVP time and time again.
a direct correlation to Jason, but he was in the party. He was doing everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Shade is one of the Reaper's kids, basically. Yep. Yep. So, yeah. Did we establish enough combat for you, Pete, in this book?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the combat. Let's see, we started off with the Mirage Chamber fight against another team, which was very exciting. Um, oh man, Belinda, Melinda, Belinda.
Clive's assistant.
Yeah,
She has an interesting power set, which is a lot of
or
fun.
I feel like she is being underutilized, but she's also very new and it fits, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of potential there. So we had the Mirage Chamber fight, which was amazing, and then we go into our oh road contract. I can't think of the actual verbiage, which was a
Try to get our
good
stars back.
opportunity. Or what's up?
Try to get our badge stars back.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Which there was a lot of good stuff there combat wise. And then I'm sorry, I'm probably a sadist, but just you're not you just the book gets so much better when you get tortured or you tortured the main character. For example, in The Land, yeah, I think it's like book 3 or 4 where he gets maimed and tortured and you just yeah, I don't know. There's just something about torturing the main character that brings it all together.
Opportunity for growth, right? We get to see Colin come through for us, save the day. Get to see him rank up, which is pretty exciting. He now has his own kind of like humanoid form in
Yep.
bronze, which is interesting. Like Jason, even though he's a squishy um, dot dealer, like he's kind of becoming his own party, right? Between all his familiars and everything.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I truly appreciate because at first I thought, okay, well, limited to only 20 abilities is kind of limiting.
Mm-hmm.
But each of those abilities grow and develop as well as we get, other elements such as Jason's boots, where we get the additional jump, but then each
Mm-hmm.
of the abilities also develop and do more stuff, as well as the evolutions that they get, which
Right.
can change and be multipliers, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. White Thatch says it's good to see a main character be in peril themselves instead of just setbacks to plans. Very true. I get tired of characters that have like main character immunity where you really don't feel they're ever in danger. And like we literally get to see Jason killed off in this book and get to see the scars develop and kind of the trials he goes through, not just physically, but emotionally and even spiritually. Um, yeah.
So, sorry, continuing, we had our punishment contract where we got to see the team grow and working with different team members, and then
Humphrey's older sibling
yep,
kind of helped coaching them through, forcing them into different team combinations, which was nice.
then we got the Astral space, right?
Yeah.
Which just, oh man, the way it worked out or that they slowly figured out more and more was just beautifully done because they got there and they're still together. And they're like, okay, we need to find the builder cultists. And then they go to the towers and we find these diamond rank constructs and we're like, oh, beepity beep. Yeah,
WTF?
do not mess us up. Just to realize that it was oh, I forget what the verbiage is. It's like a legendary ranked ship, essentially. And it was the builders, and then the Reaper took it over, and then yeah, the Reapers got annihilated, and it's just like, oh, we're all pawns to the astral beings, and then
Hmm.
uh, we get to the what is it? I can't remember the name. The blood spider.
Yeah, silver. One of our first silver rank fights, where he turns his victims into
Vampire.
vampires, and it
Yeah.
pretty much becomes like a hive mind type fight, which was pretty interesting. And oh, I think it was Neil that commented like, "Wait, what? We're gonna back down and not rush into this fight and be sensible for once." And then they go into more of their training montage, like literally
Well,
curling
yeah,
weights
but
and training and honing our skills. Go ahead.
I was primarily getting to the storyline development between us figuring out that, the builders aren't really here, even though they stayed behind.
Blood
Bloodweaver,
Weaver.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Bruno. Yeah.
The Bloodweaver, and just the way, you know, they it's one of those elements that Shirtaloon has been hinting at and emphasizing about how you don't take the fight if you know you can't do it, and they keep emphasizing it throughout several of the books, but this was a good indicator, or comes to fruition where we actually did that, and it also progressed the story along for, hey, we're no longer trying to find the builders because they all got taken out by the Bloodweaver, and
Hmm.
then figuring out the next step.
Yeah. And we've talked about it before with other books, and this one just as much, that there's a lot of good life lessons that can be taken away from this story. Knowing when to pick your battles, when to walk away, when to go into the hyperbolic time chamber and do your training montage to come out and fight again.
Oh man, I
The
think this
importance
one.
of friends being able to kind of help hold you accountable, and even just like the growth and reflection on Jason when he looks at, oh, I just had the name, his girlfriend's brother.
mm,
Um,
Thadwick Mercer.
there you go. How he feels that he's very much the same. Go ahead.
So, Thadwick Mercer has had a very interesting journey throughout all these books, and he's been set up to be the person who you love to hate. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we will learn to love him, because now he has been turned into essentially a ghoul after the builder left his body, but he ended up eating the soul that was protecting our sword, which we also don't know if the sword, or I think the sword's gone too, and
Hmm.
has gained a level of sentience, and is
I'm
out.
I'm
Like,
looking
I'm
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 looking forward to
excited
that.
for
Yeah.
either our Bobaverse type Madiro show up just to twirl his mustache and, interfere with what we got going on, versus the conversation he has with his mother where he's like, will you help me? I'm a product of him, but I'm not him. And like, oh man, I know it's just his body at this point, but I can't wait to see
We
what comes of that.
we had a bit of foreshadowing. I think it was Humphrey and Jason talking about it, like, hey, do you think he could be redeemed? Like, is he redeemable? And Jason's like, no. So, yeah, we had Jaded Chaos said he got the sword.
It would make sense.
Um, Torian, hey, Thadwick, all we had to do to improve your personality was replace it with a soul sucking ghoul, right? Uh, Soul Vampire Pog, says Jaded Chaos. I did it. I can't wait for the next book. even Dungeon Crawler Carl. I've heard that's a good book series. I think we actually have the first one in Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I think it was on sale, but
We like to
yeah.
pick up our sales. But yeah, I'm already just so pumped that we have the release date for book 4. It'll be a nice little end of the year. Yeah, maybe it'll be our first Geek Out of 2020. We'll see.
Or you missed a couple.
2022. Yeah,
Yeah, I
sorry.
was gonna
2020
say,
didn't happen.
whoa.
That's
I know
how
he's
this works.
fast.
We go to 2021 and then we go back and reset to redo 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, but just like all the ending stuff and the epilogues were so much potential. We get to see, I believe it's Shaco who goes back, and his descendants were trying to use the builder constructs to take over places, and now they're under siege. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's an insight into other aspects of the world that we didn't get to see because we've primarily been in Greenstone and we
Right.
won our fight, but we don't know if there's more of these builder constructs around, as well as now with the builder and the conversation he had with the Reaper of Death and the
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix. Um, he's got to take back all his star seeds and, not put any more down. But we failed to summon our Clockwork King, which turned out to summon Jason. But there are clockwork cores already in existence on our world, so there must be a Clockwork King, as well as we got to see us win our fight for the diamond ranked world something. I can't remember the name of the constructs in the towers of the Reaper's astral plane, but we don't know if any of them do get down. And yeah, there's a lot of potential for all the stuff going on in the
Mm-hmm.
world we're on.
Mm-hmm.
Jason went back to his world, so we get to see stuff happen there. We're going to be bringing someone from his world to help out Jason. World engineers. That sounds correct. Thank you there. Um, yeah, there's just so much potential, and this was by far the best ending yet.
Yeah. Part of the deal is the builder can't bring new resources to this fight, but he can still utilize his current resources, and we kind of get some insight through the epilogues that not everyone who is of that world is kind of like fighting for that side, right? Like we got to see some of those who join up with the builder. We get to see some of their lower ranks, but we get to see more diamond ranks than we really even knew existed towards the end there. And who knows where their allegiances are. And they clearly have the ability to transcend different worlds and planes, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that's just a whole another potential. Like the only reason we're involved with these two is for the whole previous builder of how he was trying to tamper and mess with the evolution. So then the
mm-hmm.
Astral Phoenix had to interfere and strengthen the membrane that allows magic not to come to us. But then we're doing stuff with the Monster Surge, which is supposed to be funneling magic to the other world, but it's being halted and eventually it's going to rebound in the midst of all of our builder cultist stuff we have going on. So I have a theory of it's going to be very similar to the ending of book 3, where I thoroughly enjoyed Jason running the train through the camp so that they just have more people and that whole organized chaos. And then, that's probably, yeah.
Yeah. Shirtaloon said this was the first book that was really designed as an ending, since the first 3 books were plotted out as one story.
Well, so
that, yeah.
yeah, The endings are different, but due to the density and just how quick the books are coming out, like it doesn't even matter. You know, we have so much goodness that I don't need a cliffhanger or a oh, I can't wait for more kind of ending because I know there's going to be more, and the rest of it was so good that I want more of all of it. So,
Yes, please.
yeah.
Yes, please. And thank you for outlining a book that turned out to be like nearly 80 hours of audio goodness. More, please. And like we're just scratching the surface. Like the monster surge is clearly coming, right? And we get to find out that that's part of the builder's plan and why everything's kind of coming to a crescendo. But the monster surge is
Well,
I
and
think it
that's
was
where I was a little the things don't match up because Clive says the longest one was oh, I can't quite remember. It was like 15 years, and the current one we're waiting for 12 years. So does that mean we have 3+ years to wait? Does that mean it's going to come out in different ways? Does that mean the energy is going to be, moved over to Earth to destroy the membrane, but then with our backlash, it's going to be, yeah,
well,
but
yeah, the monster surge starts, but it's not a
no,
quick
it didn't.
thing. Or well, it's coming. It appears like it's going to start. We're getting some of
Yeah,
the
we're
earlier
getting
the
if it
magic.
was part of our natural cycle
Yeah.
precursor stuff, but that's also where, um,
Shirtaloon says the previous record was 13 years.
okay,
So we're now approaching that point, I think.
I guess that's true.
Um, so a couple other quick comments. Um, I did it. I sure hope he doesn't do this, but he says, Shirtaloon, you should just say they all die at the end. Please don't.
It's so
Uh,
yeah, we do kill off a main cast at the end of every book, or at least are left with the assumption of it. And Farah does die, book one,
yeah.
and yeah, beautifully done.
Shirtaloon says they just started writing book 8. So if it keeps on track, I would love to keep getting a book a quarter. So that means maybe book 5 early 2022, which would be great.
Dang.
White Thatch, that's one of 3 reasons I like watching Geek on My Sleeve. Thank you, White Thatch. Torden says the delay gets explained in later books.
Mhm.
So yes, if we were had the time to physically read
I
more,
I
I
was gonna
definitely would
say
be on Royal
I
Road trying to get ahead.
yeah, sidestep. Shirtaloon is also an idol or an inspiration. A, the books he writes are amazing. B, the pacing that he sets out is inspirational. C, the financial freedom of being awesome and people love you long time is inspirational. But yeah, me love you long time.
Yes, 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 yes. Um,
But with that being said, I don't read physical books very often. So as exciting as a Royal Road is and inspirational, that's yeah, not really my
thank
jam.
thank you for getting them on audio format for the
Yeah.
rest of us to enjoy. Um, yeah, yeah. As soon as this book dropped, already had it pre-ordered and is like, I guess I'm going to be finding some tedious things for me to do today so I can listen to He Who Fights with Monsters. Found excuses for myself to get off work a little bit early and go grocery shopping and doing some store runs. As Jason and Humphrey and the crew are busy, slaying
Yeah,
vampires. I'm picking out my kiwis and getting stuff together. And
I've been
100%
trying not
agree
to.
with you, Shirtaloon. Heath Miller does a great job narrating. This was the first time I heard a book done by Heath Miller, but he's definitely up there. And gosh, like we've been playing in the LitRPG realm for a while now, but like He Who Fights with Monsters for me is top 5 LitRPGs,
Yeah,
easy. Which is saying a lot considering the number of series we have under our belt at this point. And Heath Miller really, really brings the story to life. White Thatch, Shirtaloon is like the outer limits. Expand one single image to crystal clarity or deluge you with 1,000 images. That is poetic, White Thatch. Jaded Chaos, the audiobooks are amazing. I Did It, Miller does a great job. Tears of Joy, 100%. And hey, Carlos, glad you could stop in
join
and say
us.
hey. Yeah, always good to see you, buddy. Um,
Oh, Gen Con.
oh man, very nice, very nice. Yeah, and you just did Dragon Con the week before, so jelly there. You're just catching all the cons. Looking forward to hearing more about it. Couple quick plugs. I know we're getting towards the end of the stream here. If you haven't already, He Who Fights with Monsters has its own Discord. Great place to geek out on the story there. If you're passionate about it, make sure you go out and support Shirtaloon. He has Patreon where you can be the first to see the chapters as they come out. Just make sure not to spoil it for the rest of us because Peter and I are trying really hard not to get too far ahead in this series. That way we don't slip up in the streams for those who want to read along with us.
Oh yeah, but this
Um,
one we're just keeping current, so it's a lot easier.
with the audiobooks.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you follow the Patreon, it is way further ahead. But yeah. I Did It. Use your powers for good or evil. Which one sounds cooler?
And that's like he does a lot of the good and evil things. How I'm trying to remember. So Humphrey's cousin, can't remember her name, who is a hand-to-hand fighter, has a conversation with Sophie Wexler and about trying to figure out Jason Asano.
Look
I
at you,
remembered all the
dude. You've
names.
been practicing your names.
About how she can't figure out Jason Asano, and she's
Mhm.
like, it's not that complicated because he's a good person who thinks like a bad person. And so it's, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Where Clive says, if you don't understand what he's doing, he's up to something. If you do understand what he's doing, then he's definitely up to something.
Or, yeah, I think they quote Humphrey for that one, but yeah.
Um, yeah. So much fun, so much goodness. I just keep going through all the little nuances that we get to see. Like after his torture there, the fact that he's able to sense the builders was a pretty clutch moment. I really enjoyed the fact that we finally got to face off with our snooty purist elf from the beginning in a big epic fight. That was so therapeutic in its own right. Getting that epic face off. Just yeah. Sorry, what were you about to chime in on?
I a lot of different directions. I probably lost it, but Dougie or Dugan or whatever his name actually was, the shovel guy, and how he kept messing it
Yes.
up to be Dougie or Diggy. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Well played.
yeah. Asano's
Oh,
fight was, and so that's probably like another point of like what makes lit RPGs amazing, and they typically rank a little higher on my combat scaling. Asano's fight was hilarious. So, sidestep, Ascend Online, book 4, there's a moment where they're like in the middle of combat, as well as, carrying on their witty banter and their conversation. So, this was that, but with Jason's witty banter. And oh man, what? You just admitted defeat. You're not rocking the power of friendship.
yeah. Yeah. I was just about to comment. Like, part of what makes the book so much fun is like Jason's trash talking, right? When he's in a fight or, when he's trying to like throw off his opponents. It's not just about your, as Jason likes to say, good looks, or your combat prowess. It's also the head games you can do
Or no,
along the
that
way.
was looking good. Wow. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I really got a kick out of the training he did afterwards. Like, we get to see the area kind of power up with the influx of stones, which was nice. So we know that, like, in a way, our quote good guys have some new recruits, and we get to see Jason kind of pushed into a little bit more of a leadership role because he's now teaching some of these guys about aura manipulation, et cetera, et cetera. So it'll be fun to see, when or if we do get to the Monster Surge, kind of the new adventurers that are more common birth. So we probably won't have as much corruption and head games as we did with like the previous batch, where they talked about the Adventure Guild exams being pretty much just like pay to play. Sorry, what were you going to?
Or well, yeah, that was one of the things where there's a quote when Humphrey is in the classroom and oh man, I lost it. There's a lot of things with what you said. So yeah, we're trying to fix up Greenstone's um adventures and everything. I lost it. It's gone.
So yeah, shameless plug on a couple other great series. White Thatch says, "He Who Fights with Monsters," Bobiverse, Artorian
Arturian. Yeah.
Archives, Completionist Chronicles, Divine Dungeon are the only series I check when the audiobooks are coming out. Yeah, we have a couple more in our queue, but like right there with you, White Thatch. Watch to see the pre-orders come up, add them to our wish list. Shameless plug, check out some of our earlier videos of like spoiler-free reviews. And if you are audiobook junkies like us, add them to your wish list. That way it's a lot easier when Audible pops these sales out, and you could be like us, pick up the audiobooks for $4 or $5, $6 a piece. Yeah. So good stuff. So many incredible scenes and moments in this book. I know we're approaching our hour. Yeah. Torden, I saw you did Ascend Online. I'll have to watch those fun series. One of our favorites too, Luke Chimolenko, amazing author. Really looking forward to talking about some more of his collabs.
Yeah, but I nope, I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. Didn't
Uh,
happen.
fair enough. Um, He Who Fights with Monsters 3. What else you got, Pete?
Mm, can't wait for 4 to come out. We have it from the author himself. He is already working on book 8. So, yeah, it's not going anywhere. The
Not even
ending
halfway there.
was by far the best, was phenomenal. Uh, we used our Phoenix token, and now we're going back to Earth. We got to see a little bit of Earth, and as if people or the government know about all the shadies going on, one guy gets kicked to the curb and then may be assimilated or brought in by the secret organization. Just
Bum
kidding.
bum
We're
bum.
sending our Phoenix, Astral Phoenix character Diamond Ranker to Earth so that she can recruit Jason Asano. Might pick up someone else. Curious how, if, when his powers work and or activate. Um, yeah, so much exciting, fun stuff going on. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't already, definitely check it out. Highly recommend you pick it up on Audible, even if you have already read it, just because Heath Miller does an amazing job narrating the book. Also worth giving him a follow on Twitter. I think he's just as big a dork as the rest of us, posting his awesome Lego creations and all that other fun stuff.
I
Um,
may have gone mad with power, or, and by that I mean spent way too much on Legos as
yes,
of recently.
no such thing, but yes, yes. Can always use more Legos and LitRPG audiobooks. So, um, yeah, with that in mind, what do we got going on next Sunday, Pete? You
Next
always,
Sunday was at uh, Acme, right?
mm-hmm, book
Uh,
5.
yep, book 5 in the Arturian Archive series by Dennis Vanderkerken and Coda Kraut. I have not been through it yet because I'm silly. So, interesting potential stuff going on there. As far as we know, as of book 4, minor spoilers, we are officially into Cal's soul space. So, I assume this is going to be developmental for Cal's soul space, as well as figuring out how everything comes together for the Completionist Chronicles edition.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Long awaited, highly recommended. Our good buddy White Thatch keeps recommending it to us. Glad to finally be doubling back and busting out the Arcturian Archives series. So much fun. Mountaindale Press, the publisher, also has a pretty dope Discord worth hopping on and geeking out with those guys. Um, really looking forward to getting more of the backstory there and seeing those pieces. Um, One of our top favorite series, a lot of fun. Just wish they were longer. He Who Fights with Monsters, you pretty much get like 2 to 3 of the Arturian Archive books equals like one of those books.
So that's where I would say flavors of ice cream, and
Uh,
it's definitely a different flavor of lit RPG. And yeah, there's some grace to having short and sweet books for the
uh,
general
I see what
masses.
you did there.
Um,
Talking about Arturian Archives and saying there is some grace. Aha! A pun worthy of Dakota Kraut himself. Golf clap. Golf clap.
but yeah, so yeah, it's just different dynamics.
Yep. A lot of fun. Love both. Um, yeah. Should be getting October posted here shortly. Peter and I are pretty bad at space and time, but we thought we might try to fit into the holiday festive mood and maybe do
Oh,
some more holiday themed stuff after
yeah.
Lux,
After
uh,
Lux, which
number
is
99.
book 4, but not really in the Reckoner series by Brandon Sanderson. And what I mean by not really is it's a side series because it doesn't follow our main cast. It's or what is it? The Texas Reckoner series.
Yeah, I've actually listened to this one. Have you listened to it yet?
I have not.
It's a lot of fun. I, you know, I wish it was a continuation just because I'd love to see what happened to the universe. But as you said, it's more of a side series, though we do get to learn more about characters from the main series through this, but it's not our primary or our main focus of the book. And I think it's on Audible only. So definitely
What?
go check it out. Yeah, it's nice to see that those of us who read with our ears getting some love. Um, so yeah. And to kind of wrap it up, very well said, White Thatch. Shirtaloon, thank you for an amazing world and books. He Who Fights with Monsters, incredible series. Definitely going to keep continuing the series. Expect to see the Geek Out for that one come out early 2020 after we give everybody a week or two to
Or
digest the series.
2022?
2022. I keep saying 2020. I'm ready to roll it back. Do a
But
reset of 2020.
yeah, I'm ready
Um,
to pretend it doesn't exist or didn't
uh,
exist. It didn't happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, yeah, as always, guys, keep tossing us the book recommendations our way. Um, Love having more books than we have time to get to, and we try to work in the more demand series into our queue. And really appreciate everyone who showed up to geek out with us live. Keep the conversation going in the comments below, and you can always catch us over on Discord. And special thanks to Shirtaloon for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. Hopefully, it was a nice little break from writing, and we didn't forget too many of the characters' names along the way. And thanks to the others in chat who helped us when we did blank on those names. So, yeah.
Yep.
Anything else, Pete?
No, I believe this will conclude Geek Out 97.
All right.
Thank you
Bye.
again. Hope to geek out with you here soon. Bye.